Okay, welcome to week 14. As usual, we have a to-do list on our week 14 homepage. So let's take a look. You've got your next quiz coming up this week, a new module in Unit 3 on causation, and we're continuing to work on the informal fallacies module, and we've got a weekly check-in. Now, a good place to start might be to check out the remaining practice quizzes and final exam. Note, there is a video guide for Practice Logic Quiz 3, the quiz that is due this week. And by video guide, I mean I made a video of me thinking aloud as I completed the practice version of the quiz. If we scroll down, we can see that here in week 14, we've got our logic quiz number 3. Fall break is next week. Thank God for that. Week 15 coming up, we've just got the fallacies quiz and a cumulative final exam coming up in week 16. You might take a look at the practice quizzes and exam just to get a sense of what to expect. Okay, so before we preview the modules this week, I want to take a tour of some updates to Canvas. So if we skip ahead to next week, we see it's fall break, and so you can use this week to get caught up if you need to. You can work ahead if you want to, or you can just enjoy the break. Hopefully everyone can do that. If we move ahead, I have got these pages set up, but they're a work in progress. So as you can see, homework 15 and check-in haven't been updated yet. What to expect for homework 15 in week 15. So I'm not going to give you a new homework assignment. Instead, homework 15 will just be a series of questions and reminders about the course syllabus and the final exam, etc., to make sure that everybody is 100% crystal clear on how their grades are calculated, what the final exam will be like, what they need to do. Your primary task coming up after the fall break is to study for the final exam. And I have created, or really I'm in the process of creating, review exercises for you to review and study. These are exercises that I've taken from all of your past homework assignments. Your scores on these assignments are going to be recorded because Canvas records everything, but they are not factored into your actual course grade. So if we scroll down on the week 15 page, you can see this section. It's still under construction, so you cannot actually start working on these. I'm not completely finished here, but I'll get it done soon. But soon, you'll be able to review by section. This isn't required, it's optional, but definitely it's recommended. So one study strategy might be to start by going to the final exam section and checking out the practice exam. I'm also posting videos of me thinking aloud as I complete the practice final exam. But you might try it on your own first, just to get a sense of which things, when you sit down to do it on your own, you draw a blank or you get stuck, so that way you can do strategic practice. And then based on the kinds of questions you miss, go back and do practice exercises from the relevant sections. These practice exercises, a lot of them the questions will change each time you do it, and you can complete them as many times as you want. So there's room to complete them more than once. So that's a preview of what's to come. Let's go back to this week and take a look at the module on causation. So I'm going to click on the Materials tab. Now, just like with statistics and probability, you could take a whole course on reasoning about causation. It's complex. We're really going to focus on the basics with an emphasis on errors in reasoning about causation. So there's a guide to this module. As usual, the text is an essential resource, so definitely read the text. And the slides I've embedded below are an essential resource, so I recommend that you start with the text. It's not terribly long. So start with the text and then review the slides. This is sort of a self-paced lecture, right? So be sure to go through the slides. They're essential. And then you will be ready to complete the homework associated with this module. Notice that the homework is short answer passage analysis. Let's take a look at it. Okay, so there's two kinds of exercises you're going to be asked to do. One is to be able to identify and explain correlations. So you're going to get a series of questions that include statements, and these statements do include statements about things being correlated. Your task is to be able to identify the correlation. Say what exactly is correlated with what. You're basically just rephrasing this so you use the words is correlated with. Make it super explicit. And then explain the correlation. As you'll see when you get into the text and into the accompanying slides, when we explain correlations, we're deciding whether for these two things that happen to be correlated, A and B, A is correlated with B. When A happens, B happens. We're going to decide why are these things correlated. Is A causing B, and that's why they're correlated? Is B causing A, and that's why they're correlated? Is some third factor, C, causing both A and B, and that's why A and B are correlated? Or is it simply a coincidence? So we're going to be identifying plausible explanations for correlations. And you'll get a few examples of these. And then the other kind, and this is where this module starts to look an awful lot like the module on analyzing and evaluating fallacies, because they really do go together. You're going to do passage analysis and evaluation, and it's the same set of steps. Analyze, reconstruct, identify, evaluate. We're just focusing in more depth on causal reasoning here. So you'll be given a passage and you'll be asked to go through the process of reconstructing it or whatever, and then when you evaluate it, you'll use this approach that part of evaluating a causal argument has to do with considering possible explanations for the correlation other than causation. So that's the task here. And again, we are continuing to work on informal fallacies, so let's take a look at our focus for this week. We're in week 14, and this week we're focusing on base rate neglect. So this fallacy really goes with Unit 3, Mod 2, probability, where we talked about base rate neglect in detail. And FYI, this is going to get called base rate neglect and base rate fallacy pretty interchangeably. And also we're going to take an in-depth look at the false cause fallacy. And then for 15, you'll want to review and complete the fallacies quiz. Okay, as you can see, there are no short answer passage analysis questions to go with the fallacies. Instead, we're having short answer passage analysis to go with causation, where you're essentially going to be evaluating false cause fallacies. Instead, this is just sort of a longer multiple choice one where all of the fallacies are on the table, so hopefully this is good review for the coming quiz. But one of the things that you might do in studying for the quiz is really attempt to try to reconstruct, even though these are multiple choice questions, like on your own, perhaps with pen and paper, try to, at least for a couple of them, practice putting them into standard form and doing a complete analysis and explaining your answer, just as a way to practice doing short answer questions, which you're going to be asked to do on the upcoming quiz and on the final exam. When you submit your homework, you'll get to see answers, and my solutions will have them in standard form, and we'll go through the whole 4-step process. So that's a way that you can practice doing short answer questions, even though we don't have a short answer question homework assignment. Okay, that is our week 14. I look forward to hearing how it's going in your week 14 check-in.